Hello and welcome. We're live to the launch of Mass Page Booster. I'm here with Daryl, my good friend Daryl from Mass Page Tools, and we'll be talking tonight about this new service that I'm launching. I'm going to wait just a short time to let some give time to people to get on and go through some slides. So just whilst people are getting started and seeing the live feed, just want to check you're all right, Daryl. I know you've been a bit off color over the weekend. Are you keeping well?
Yeah, doing well. The whole family got a little bit sick. We've all been tested for COVID. No issues there. So we're doing good there.
That's
I'm looking
good to hear.
forward to this. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you're going to show.
Yeah, well, it'd be great. I know you know a little bit about it, but you don't know all the things. So it'd be great to have your input. And I'm hoping it will be an interactive session. I always say this when I do these things, but it's much better if we can get some questions in from the group. I can see some people coming in there, which is great. So what I'm going to do tonight is go through the launch of Mass Page Booster, which is a new done for you SEO service that I'm launching. I've got some slides to go through, which I'll flip over to, and if I can make the screen work, we'll hopefully see them. Just give me a second, and I'll just get into that. Okay. So Daryl, I'm going to ask you if you could just keep an eye on questions as things come through. So I'm just going to encourage people that are watching, please ask questions as you go through if there's anything you want me to cover off. I'm hoping this is going to be a discussion. Obviously, I'm launching a product, so there's a sell on this and there's a price and all the rest of it. But I'm hoping it's also a discussion about Mass Page, local SEO, and how this fits as part of it. So questions are very welcome. But when I go into the screen, it'd be great to have your you just keep an eye on things. So service is called Mass Page Booster. As I say, it is a launch, it is a new service, but I'm going to be going through a little bit of background on local SEO and mass page building as well, just to make sure everyone's in the same place. And just to give you some headlines on this. So as I said, it's a done for you tool, done for you service for SEO for local businesses, and that could be businesses across any local niche. I'm a photographer, and I do a lot of work with photographers, so it could be for that niche, but it could easily just be, you know, a carpet cleaner or a locksmith, or it could be an accountant, or could be anybody that wants to target local clients. Mass Page Booster is a service that uses automation and other software tools and techniques to create unique pages which Google loves to rank. So hyper-specific, super relevant pages for local businesses. The great news is it complements your existing website. So whatever platform you're on, you can be on Squarespace, you can be on Wix, you can be on WordPress, you can be whatever you like. The proposition I'm putting here is something that will complement it, whatever the platform. And we're obviously using techniques that are proven. So within the local SEO world, the idea of building location-based landing pages is a proven tactic. I've also got a case study and know this approach can work as well, and some of the stuff that I've been doing, and it's a great way to generate targeted local traffic. And I think also one of the nice things is kind of positioning this as a bit kind of ninja. It's a bit of a secret weapon, and it's something that is not going to be immediately obvious that you're using to your clients. And the proposition I'm putting together is I'm really looking to work with one local niche in each area. So I'm not looking to double up the proposition. So if there are two I don't know, accountants within a state or a county, I'm looking really just to work with one in each area. So that's just to give you a bit of a taste of what things are. Daryl, I don't know if any questions are coming in, or if that's just sort of set the scene okay, but that's just to kind of start things off.
Just Steve Dimmick says hi. Facebook user says evening, chaps. So we're just often running to the races,
Steve.
There, so,
yeah, all good. And so Facebook user, if you want to say anything and reveal your identity, I think you have to register with StreamYard. There should be a link in the post, but good to have you on board. So look, Google, I think pretty much every local business owner, and certainly anybody that's in my Facebook group, knows that Google can be an amazing source of leads, because because Google searches for local business tend to be high search intent, people looking in the local area to buy products and services. So if you can get that traffic onto your site, it tends to be great news for you as a local business. And some local business owners are very au fait with SEO, and it's an active part of their marketing strategy. But some local businesses, I guess sometimes people don't know where to start, or don't have the time, or are focused on other things. So, it's a kind of a bit of a catch-22 situation of knowing the leads are there, but not always knowing how to access them. So just jumped one ahead there. So there's a number of different approaches you can take if you want to do SEO. So I do sort of coaching and training and all that kind of stuff, and you can certainly learn SEO and build it yourself, and it's perfectly possible to do that. And the kind of three building blocks of SEO are technical SEO, so build a fast website that's secure, well structured, mobile friendly, and then put great content on that website, make sure it answers the search intent, the search queries that people have typed into Google, and make sure your off-page SEO is good, so that your domain authority, or the trust that Google sees in your website, grows over time. And all these things together should result in more rankings and a better result. So that's all great in theory, but DIY SEO versus done for you SEO. DIY SEO is not for everyone. So as a small business owner, whatever you do, as SEO is a long-term or medium to long-term strategy. So you're going to require either putting time into it, or money into it, or sometimes both. And certainly if you're going to do it yourself, you might need some training. You'd certainly need some software. You obviously need hosting. You have to think about your security, various other things, backlink building. And the truth is, doing your own SEO as a small business is not for everyone. It is for some people, and that's completely fine. And I work with people that do that, but it's it's not for everyone as an approach. So based on some of the discussion I've had with my own clients, and obviously knowledge of using this to support my own business, I've launched this Mass Page Booster, and as I said, it's a service for local businesses done for you. And there's a picture of a happy local business owner smiling at the bottom there, which is hopefully the result.
Can
Yes.
I add something to that last slide that you had there? I've worked with businesses for a number of decades. Sorry to age myself, but you can see the grays here. And folks that run their own businesses always do better if they stick in the wheelhouse of serving their clients and doing what they've got the expertise to do. When you go online to try to learn DIY SEO or Mass Page or any kind of technique with GMBs and things like that, you're going to get tons of information, and a lot of it's inaccurate, a lot of it's outdated, a lot of it doesn't work anymore, or could get you in trouble. And so you take a guy like Simon here, just as an endorsement, because you're on our Sunday show, you're always bringing new pieces of research to the fact you're spending the time to be an expert on what works and what is happening now, and you distill all of the information that's out there. You do tests, you see what's really working in the wild, and then you can bring it to bear. And so I just want to make sure that to highlight DIY is a dangerous thing for a business owner to do, because obviously they might save a few $100s here or there, but in the long run, if you're not working on serving your client and making the best decisions for growing your business, and leaving a lot of these things that are nebulous and complicated when it comes to SEO and all of these different techniques and things like that, you're doing yourself a disservice, I think, from somebody that's been doing this for decades, to try to just completely do it yourself and try to run your business and try to deal with human, HR and all of the things that can happen in a business. So I just want to make sure to highlight that, because that's definitely it's a scary situation where you're trying to distill all this information from a newbie, a rookie perspective, and you're trying to distill all this information and try to find what is the right path. And you can make a lot of mistakes, and if you're doing it to your main website, you just have to be careful. That's all I want to say.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good insight. I think it's a little bit like hiring an accountant, isn't it? I mean, people
Right.
often say, you can do your own books, and you can to a point, but if you're getting into sort of tax planning or setting up companies or anything else, it can be penny wise, pound foolish to try and school yourself in international tax law or whatever else that you need to get into. I know situations myself where I've not gone down that path, and it's ended up costing me more money because I've not gone straight for professional advice. So yeah, I think it's a good a good analogy. And I certainly spend a lot of time, as you do, Daryl, because we speak quite a lot, but just talking about SEO, watching videos, being involved in groups, getting coaching, running Sunday Live, working with clients. So that's all part of it. So it's hard to be a master of all, jack of all trades, really. So that's the thing. Cool. Okay, so so that is obviously setting the scene, and hopefully a happy business owner as a result of this. So look, I just wanted to explain a little bit about mass page building, and hopefully sort of bring that to life a bit in terms of what this is all about. So mass page building is a professional sort of advanced SEO technique that uses software and different techniques to build out hundreds, sometimes thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands, and sometimes even tens of millions of pages, which are optimized to target a local service or a product or other keywords or whatever. So there's a whole I guess industry and strategy all around mass page building, and that's obviously something I'm involved with, Daryl's involved with, and we spend a lot of time looking at some of the best strategies on this. And just to explain what it is, if you look at the diagram there, the little red marker in the middle, if you think about a person's normal local business website, they tend to be quite small typically. So if a website has maybe 10, 15, 20 pages, that might be quite typical. So you might have an about page, some services pages, a contact page, also a home page. Some people may have started writing a blog and then maybe have given up shortly afterwards, and the number of pages can be fairly limited. And therefore, the number of things that Google can see in terms of content is also fairly limited as well. And it's often very unlikely that these kind of pages are going to do very well because they're not specific. So when Google's wanting to rank a page, it wants to know that that page content is super relevant and really helps the user query and is part of the search results. And typically, if you're just going in there with a small website with not much content, it's unlikely to do very well, all things being average. I mean, obviously there's backlinks, other factors, but all things being average. So by using mass page building, you can actually accelerate the growth of the number of pages in your site to target these different areas. So whilst most people might go in with a home page that might say Yorkshire carpet cleaner or something, mass page building would then be looking at sort of all the localities in a particular area and might build out 100 pages. So instead of just looking at the home page being Yorkshire, it might build out all the different small towns within Yorkshire. And the effect of doing that is Google sees it as a much larger site. It sees it as having much more relevance and credibility. It sees it as having more interlinking, and there's just more content and more relevant content. So if you are in a small area and you type in carpet cleaner near me, for example, there's a good chance that this mass page is going to pop up because it's pretty much going to be the only page that somebody's written about carpet cleaners for that particular small area. Because the reality is handwriting all of the, I've got the example there: Leeds emergency plumber, Bradford emergency plumber, Halifax emergency plumber, Wakefield emergency plumber. Sorry, these are all UK examples. But if you go through what would it take for you to write 100 of those pages yourself and make them unique and make them different, not just changing a title and copying pasting, that could take you weeks, months. I mean, even if you went out to Fiverr and outsourced the writing, you're still looking at a large amount of money and also a long time to deliver that back. So mass page building uses the fact that Google likes these pages, wants to see unique, relevant content, but multiplies it, and you get that effect where you can build out over time. Then there's techniques to make sure that they're built in a way that Google wants to see, not just all spammed out in one day. That these are built in a strategic way, and this is something that Google will respond to and rank over time. So you end up covering your local area with all of these pages, and ultimately you can also consider building other sites and multiplying the effect even further. But for a typical small business, mass page building and the mass page booster is going to be a great way to get in on that as a local SEO strategy in a way that people would not normally be able to access. So Daryl, you've been in mass pages for far longer than I have. That was my summary of mass page building. I don't know if you've got any perspectives on that, or if you want to add anything to it, or even take away. I don't know what your perspective is on that.
Absolutely. I mean, you hit basically everything that I would say. With the, basically when I talk to somebody about it, if you take a look at that picture on the screen right now, there's one person in red, and then you have all of these other people that are spread out, like all connected to that one person, right? So a traditional web page is going to have like 10 basic web pages, but mostly it's about that one website and then service or set of services and things like that. So in an analogy I come up with is basically it's going fishing with one hook in the water, maybe some really good bait on the hook, but it's still, after all, just one hook on the water. You're going to catch one fish at a time, and that's basically what you're going to get. Whereas imagine you having 100 or 1,000 hooks in the water that are all optimized to draw in the fish. It's like a net versus just a single hook in the water. So I think that I would rather have the net approach if I really wanted to grab leads and capture traffic and things like that. So I think it's a really cool approach. It's been around for a while. I even started my first mass page sites back in the late 90s. I built a directory, which is considered like a mass page site. A directory is because you have multiple pages with a lot of the similar content. And those, if you look on Google, guys, the number 2, 3, 4 sites are directories in a lot of cases. And the reason is because Google actually is looking for a relevant answer to the query. So having these pages are what Google's looking for. As long as you do it properly and things like that, it's gonna yield results for you.
Yeah, definitely. And we're not talking about just spamming things, and we'll get into a little bit of the approach on why Mass Page Booster is able to create unique pages and pages that are going to add some value, and not just be copy and paste 100 times, which is not what Google wants to be seeing. Okay, so why Mass Page Booster, and get into a little bit more about what it actually is. So Mass Page Booster, as I said, it's a done for you service. So it's a dedicated website consisting of local landing pages that I manage or is managed on your behalf. The actual implementation that we'll be using is a subdomain. So for example, here it could be pro.mydomain.com, and that, whilst it looks very to users' point of view, landing on that, it will look like it's part of your main site. That pro dot is actually directed to my server. I use a virtual private servers for this, and the site is hosted there. So for all intents and purposes, it looks like your site. It looks like part of your domain, but actually it's hosted by myself and managed and controlled by myself. And I use a number of different techniques and part of the software stack. And there's some logos down there, including WordPress that you'll be familiar with, and then some other softwares, including Daryl's Mass Page Tools on the right hand side here. And I put all these together to create this automated mass page building capability. And it would be quite hard to do this yourself on the DIY approach, because there's a lot of software to invest in and obviously set up. Obviously I'm doing that for you and scaling up on your behalf, obviously with a group of clients, to make this work. So it's essentially a location based landing pages that I put onto a website. It's pointed from your domain with pro or whatever else the subdomain would be called, and it's run on your behalf. Okay, and obviously the result of that is it ticks the boxes for the things I was talking about earlier on. So it ends up being fast and secure. It's mobile friendly. The content, something obviously be delivered through this, and we're using some off-page SEO techniques to build the authority up as well. So it's something that's designed to tick all the boxes in a way that it's easier for me to deliver to people as a client than it would be for me to go onto somebody else's site and then rebuild the whole site, because some people's sites might be not as fast as they need to be. They might not have gone through a full kind of mobile responsive design. They might be on a cloud platform like Squarespace, so they can't do mass page building on that platform, etc. So this is a way of ticking all the boxes that gets past that and coming up with the solution. Okay, so to try and, hopefully people are getting an idea of this, but to try and help you picture it. So I'm a professional photographer, although probably mainly in SEO these days, but I'm still active as a professional photographer as well. And I've set up an example on my page, on my own site, and we'll have a look at that in a second. It's not indexed, it's not live, it's got full of Latin text just to make sure it's just an example. It's not something I'm using in my own business at the moment, but it's really just to give as an example for everyone. So the landing page itself is structured in a way that it's one page per location. So you can see here it says Harrogate and North Yorkshire, and there'll be 100 or so other pages, and they'll all go through all the different towns of North Yorkshire. So I'm based in Yarm, so there'll be a Yarm one, there'll be Northallerton, there'll be Thirsk, there'll be all sort of different places within this county or state. It uses SEO optimization, so it's using techniques to create a page that is going to appeal to Google, and that might be something that if you're building your own site that you might not know how to do it, or you might be struggling to get the right balance in terms of the text and the mix of keywords and content. It'll also feature your logo, features your fonts and color schemes. So that's when people land on it. It looks very much like your site, but the links on this page only go to your site. So when people type in view portfolio, it only goes to your main site. And obviously your main site's where you've spent probably time and money thinking about how to convert people. The purpose of the mass page booster is to get the traffic. So ideally people land on the mass page booster site, the subdomain, and spend very little time there, and they just click on what they want to see and go to your main site. There's some other things that I'm adding in the background here: schema markup, which is structured data, which Google likes to see to help with rankings and structure. And I also use something called spin tax, which is a technique of varying the content in the page so that it changes each time it's displayed. So that's something that again helps with the pages not being the same every time, but still runs along a theme and a structure. One of the also things that Mass Page Booster does is it has a strong internal linking structure, because this is automated through the software. And also I'm going to be building some foundational backlinks for every new implementation using some of the Mass Page network I own and control, and some other techniques as well that to get things started. So let's have a look at one here. So again, this is my sample Mass Page Booster page. You can look at it at mpb.hogbenphotography.com. I'm going to click on this now, and hopefully it'll take me there. Let's just see. Yeah, see that. Just before I get into it, Daryl, have you got any questions or observations just before I kind of go into this page?
No, I mean,
no,
looking at that feature set, it's almost like you're driving the Tesla of mass page websites with all that you're putting into it.
Yes.
A lot of the things like you mentioned, spin tax and schema, and a lot of this geeked out stuff. To know what works in those areas. For example, there's tools that will create spin text, but knowing how to do it properly. The latest generation of spin text tools write differently. They're actually written with AI instead of synonym replacements, which synonym replacements often get things wrong, and things don't flow really well.
Sounds very robotic, doesn't it? It just sounds that it's written by a computer. Absolutely.
Yeah. So little things like that, Simon's already thought of for you, and I think that feature set list is like the creme de la creme of these kinds of pages. So
yeah. I mean, that's it, because I was wanting to provide, I always think about this, like, what would I want in my own business? How would I approach it? And that's the set that I'd want to put together to get the best result back. So if I just go back to the slide, can you see this That's okay still? Yeah.
Yep.
So that's my logo, and here is the site. So it doesn't have all the same features as the regular site, because I'm only wanting people to focus on the portfolio. Yeah. So this looks like my main site, but is not my main site. So at the top it's MPB as the subdomain, but all of these links all go through to my main site. So there's obviously the text in here, as I say, it's Latin. I've just put this together this morning, actually, just as a demo. But this is the kind of format that it will do. So it will go through providing, a good amount of content to appeal to Google about commercial photography. And then if people land on this, they can press commercial photographer. Same for wedding photographer, portrait photographer, aerial photographer. These are just examples to show sort of niches or sub niches. I put in a video, so can you have a YouTube channel connected? I've put in a really cheesy picture of me from a few years ago, which you'll all enjoy. I thought about putting Brad Pitt or somebody in there, but I didn't think it would carry it off, so that's there.
I don't know about that camera you're holding. That looks a little outdated.
Yeah, I've got a better one now. No, that's about 8 years old, that one. But yeah, I've got more modern cameras, and the content here would all be tailored for you. So this is not a cut and paste job. Everyone's site is unique to them. So I'd take some of the content that's on your site, I'd take your images, and I'd use some SEO techniques and spin tags to create your mass page booster site. Also puts in a map of the location area. So we're on Harrogate professional photographer here. So it says Harrogate, but if we go to Thirsk or Northallerton or Yarm, it will say that instead. So it's using all these things that Google's going to pick up on and see these pages being different and useful. There's also a FAQ section down here, and there's space here for large amounts of content, which can be effectively kind of hidden away, but Google sees it and will take notice of this content and rank it. And there's another call to action at the bottom. So you might say, well, that doesn't look quite like my website. It's not exactly the same. This is just a means to an end. So the end is people look down here, they scroll very quickly, they're looking for a portrait photographer, they click the button, and then they go through a link through to your main site. This is my main site, and I would actually directly that through onto portrait photography or wedding photography, whatever the niche was, and then this takes over as your main converting site. So that this is where I don't do any SEO on my main site. I send traffic to it through different other means, but MPB or Mass Page Booster would be a way of sending traffic to your site where it could be converted without having to fill my whole page here with text and guff that maybe Google might like, but my clients might not want to see.
Can I add to the reason to keep your those boosted pages, the Mass Page Booster pages, simplified? Is the number one thing is speed when it comes to ranking. When you have that many pages, Google has what they call as a crawl budget, they say, and the faster your pages and the more simpler they are, the higher your chances you're going to rank. However, from the user standpoint, especially with a photography website, they're looking at the pixels, they're looking, everything with a sharp, look, and so your regular website has to look great, right? But this is to draw in the traffic. So they click that button that says view portfolio, and then they go to the races with, the other assets that you have.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this has 6 or 7 images on it. Actually, I've not even optimized these. I've just uploaded them. So I know some of these are 500 or 600K, which they wouldn't be in a real example. But this is to make it as quick as it can be. And again, it's just a means to an end. It's to send traffic to your site. It's not, I don't want people spending a lot of time looking at this. It's just press a button, particularly on mobile. These look great on mobile, get you onto the main site, and then the conversion happens there as it would do. Here's some of this automated linking I was talking about as well. So Google likes to see structure, likes to see the relationships between pages, and this is all built into the proposition as well. So if I click on, we'll go to Farnham. See, that loaded pretty quick there. That was Farnham, and again, the content's changed now. So North Yorkshire's the same. We're still in North Yorkshire, but now it's in Farnham, and the page here would be configured to be different to the other pages. Some things would be the same and similar, other bits of it would be completely different, or variations on a theme, so that it would not just like a copy and paste job to Google, because anybody can do that. You could get a virtual assistant and say, look, make me 200 pages and just change that at the top. That's not going to be enough in an area that's, if you're up against any kind of local competition, you've got to do more. But probably a lot of us know that handwriting this stuff and making it different takes a long time. Everyone's got a day job, and that's a challenge. Obviously, Master Page Booster gives you that and can build out over time hundreds of different pages. So the proposition focuses on the county. So I'd look at building pages for towns, say more than 10,000 population. It would build up over a number of months, because we don't want to scare Google and have them think that this is just completely automated stuff. This is something that builds as a normal regular local business website would build over time, and that's the thing that we've seen gets the best result, is making it look a steady growth in the mass page. Okay, so that's there. You can have a look at that yourself if you want to. I've talked a little bit about this and this sort of role of the landing page, and I've shown you my main page, and I've shown you the kind of example page here. And so the focus is all on traffic, and you also get links as well. So links obviously coming from this site to your main site, and also this potential to add links to the Mass Page Booster site to pass through link juice and build the authority of this site as well. So it works very much hand in hand with your existing site, but it's a means to an end. We just want people to press the button, go onto your main site. That's all we're doing. We don't need people to read the content. We just need people to see, commercial photography. I'm looking for a commercial photographer. I'll go to the main site. Okay, so 3 reasons why I think it's a good investment. Obviously, I think it's a better approach than typically doing it yourself, and I think it's arguably much more efficient than having it handwritten by a VA or something, a virtual assistant. So it's better because it builds hyper-focused landing pages, gets proven results. You don't need to hire a web designer, learn how to code or any of that kind of stuff. It's all managed by me as a service, and I think it's cheaper than hiring a content writer to write hundreds of unique pages. I've got a case study here. I can't say who this is, but it's a UK-based case study of somebody I've worked with, and their history is that they have been working on their site for a year and a half, and they've done certainly some SEO and blogging, and that's really helped their site. But 3 or 4 months ago, they put a mass page implementation on, and in the way that I would work on this with the subdomain, and that's had a very strong effect on terms of the number of keywords. So if you see, they have been growing, and I think they would have continued to grow, but they're seeing a really strong kick up here in the terms of the number of keywords. And this is like, that jump there is 500 keywords in one month, yeah. And they're obviously getting up into a number of rankings, and what I can see is both the main page, the main site, is ranking better, and a quarter of all the keywords that they're ranking on are coming directly from the mass page, and that's in a really short period of time. I've seen this client ranking on page 1 for certain niches in major cities that I would be very happy to see. Any local business is going to be very happy to see that actually happening. And I know for a fact that they've seen more leads coming through, more bookings as a direct result of this approach. And I know their keyword value has also grown as well. So the value of their keywords, if they had to buy them through Google pay-per-click, which I know a lot of people use, they'd have to spend $360. So that's what the value of their SEO is worth at the moment, but clearly the trajectory is very good. So I expect this site's going to continue to grow and grow, partly on the basis of the SEO they've already done on the main site, but also because of the addition of a mass page booster that's having an effect across the rest of the site, and obviously growing number of keywords as well.
Might I add also, Google and a lot of these SEO tools that are out there are going to measure only a small percentage of all of the potential possible keyword combinations that exist known to mankind.
Yeah.
And your 25% of keywords from mass page, sometimes if you use any of those tools, it's not going to detect all of the keywords that you're actually ranking for.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
They're what they call is zero search volume. but they're not really zero. When you put them all together, you get 1 or 2 Z's and 3 Z's on these per month, and it adds up. And then the other thing is that I don't know that you mentioned, but if you take a look at what happened when he added the mass page content, because it was done right, he got to see a real significant boost of the overall site. And
Yes,
that is
right,
a byproduct of doing this properly. Increases the overall value of his domain asset, and it increases the overall popularity of that URL in the SERPs for the main pages. So the typical pages that people are searching for, he's coming up better for. So that's a really good case study there.
Yeah, it is. And it's also a virtuous circle, because we know that if Google sees more traffic going onto a site, it thinks, oh, people like the site, and then it rewards it with higher rankings. So you can get that acceleration effect because you're just getting more traffic onto the site. So yeah, it's a good example. Okay, so going to be some questions. I'll just step back a second there, Darryl. I don't know if anybody's asked anything at this point. I'm going to go into a kind of, well, why do I do it this way, and are there any issues with this and all the rest of it? But just to see if anybody's... We're good?
Yeah.
Awesome.
If anybody has any questions, go ahead. Yeah, ticking all the boxes. Go ahead and put any questions you have in there. We'll try to get to them as it goes. And if it's something that's urgent, we'll jump on it right away so we can go back to the slide and explain it for you.
Yeah, sure. No worries. So one of the questions is, why don't I just do this on the main website? So obviously, if you're a WordPress user, I could install some of the software there and manage it inside your existing website. And, or there's other things, other approaches to this. But this is why I've chosen this as a strategy, which I think offers the best fit for the people, the type of business owners I've got in mind that would benefit from this. So first of all, doing it this way and me hosting the whole service as a managed service, if you don't do it this way, you can't get it to work with cloud-based builders. And I know a lot of people, particularly photographers, that are using cloud builders like Squarespace or Wix or Pixieset. There's a whole list of them, and you just can't do it with this. If you want to access Mass Page as a strategy, you've got to use it in a different way. So Mass Page Booster allows you to access this, which another method wouldn't allow you to. There's also the risk that if I'm working within your website, there's always the potential for issues to come up that may or may not be caused by anything I've done. So you could have a plugin that conflicts with some of the software I would use, your themes, etc., etc. And it's just a cleaner implementation if it's done through my approach as a subdomain. And I feel that's a better strategy for what we're doing here. You also may not have the fastest hosting or caching or security settings set up. So allowing me to manage it on your behalf means I've got complete control to make those optimizations without affecting anything on your main site. It means I don't need any access to the main site. You just point part of your DNS records to me, and then that's sort of all taken off your hands and done for you, which is the point of the proposition. It's also easier for me to report on things as well, so I can measure much more easily the effect of the traffic into the Mass Page Booster, see the traffic going over to your existing site, and measure the effect of that if it's standalone. And a safety thing as well. So we'll talk a little bit about this, is that this approach protects your main domain if there was any potential for a Google issue. So it's a question that I've been asked, and it's one I want to kind of tackle head on, if that makes sense. So because this is a subdomain that's related to your main domain, Google pretty much sees this subdomain as a different website to your main domain. And in this case, the benefit of that is if something was ever to go wrong with the subdomain, we could obviously pause the MPB site, reassign it, redirect it, stop it, or whatever. Now, this isn't what typically happens, and the worst case that's likely to happen is that Google just doesn't like the Mass Page site and decides to de-index it. Obviously, the strategies we do with the content and the variation and building things steadily over time, some of the backlink building is there to make sure that Google likes the site and ranks it and it works well. But this way of implementing it means that something I'm going to do on the subdomain is not going to damage your main domain with, people talk about toxic links or etc., etc. So it's all something that can be controlled by the pausing, diverting, switching off the Mass Page Booster. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there because it is a question that people ask. Darryl, you'll have some experience of this. So I don't know if you have any perspectives on that as a comment on domain protection?
Yeah, I mean, as far as domain protection, a lot of things can happen that we sometimes clean up. For example, um, if there is a redirection problem, right, inside of the WordPress site, the mass page site, and you've got to change your slugs for whatever reason, okay. Being able to have it on a separate subdomain, you could actually just fork the project over and start with another one, or you could just modify it and have a backup while you're making the modification. So there's a lot of things that come out of basically being able to have this as a separate install. It gives you the ability to use whatever your favorite authoring tool is, and and still be able to have the benefits of all of this. Also, the IP address from the subdomain is going to be different as well. So you have the benefit too that you're getting, sort of these backlinks coming in from another IP address, which is always valuable as well. There's a lot of things that you can do in the subdomain way of doing it. With regard to other services, you can break them down. I don't know if this is a part of your service, but if you could sell, multiple different stacks of your service.
Absolutely. Could have more than one. More than one.
So there's a lot of flexibility. There's a lot of protections. One of the things that we find sometimes is performance plugins that give you a good score, but don't give you good rankings. And we're always in pursuit of what is the best plugin for getting us better rankings, not as much the score in all of these different Pingdom and GT metrics. I don't care about that as much as something that just has the lowest, was a CLP or whatever, like in the TBT and stuff like that. I'm looking for things that make the page really snappy and has the stats that seem to work good for SEO. And if you find a better plugin, right, you can go ahead and try it on another subdomain before you try it on your website, and test it out there. So it's really a good practice to do it this way. And subdomains are powerful. I got to tell you, we use subdomains all the time, and subdomains always benefit from the root domain, but they also bring with it a whole vertical of information that's all in a silo. It's all in congruent information. And when you do a website with a subdomain that's congruent, it's very, very powerful when it links out to the call to action, because that information, that page is very, very related.
Yeah, absolutely. And then perfectly possible if you wanted to have an implementation of 3 subdomains and each subdomain would target a different niche. It could do that. Obviously, there's more cost involved with that, but depending on your scope of your business, you could do that. The photographer example targets a sort of umbrella keyword as professional photographer, and you have a number of sub niches in that. But you could drill down and go, right, I'm going to go after wedding photographer and have niches below that, for example, or you could have a national business and target. So lots of different ways to do it with subdomains, as you've said. Cool. Okay. So I've asked for questions. I don't know if I've got any more questions, but I'll just pause again briefly. I've got some questions maybe come through there now.
So Steve Dimick said, can you measure how much traffic is coming to the main site from the subdomain mass pages?
I'm going to do that in a couple of ways. I've got tracking on all of the links. So when somebody clicks a link to go through to the main site, they're all individually tracked. So that's one metric. And obviously I'll be tracking individually the traffic that comes into Mass Page Booster through my own tools. And obviously we'll work with the client to discuss having something like Google Analytics on the main site, or another tool that I use to supplement that as well. So we'll see it both coming onto Mass Page Booster, going through the links, and then onto the client site as well. So it'll be a very good idea, a very good view of things. And also another thing that I even haven't put in this slide deck, but I am including in this, is I'll include a login to my own SEO tool that I use called seranking.com, and you'll be able to get a readout on on your rankings from there, and that will be something that we'll do to sort of track specific keywords. So there will be certain things that people want to do, but I like transparency because I like to sort of know what's happening in my own business and the data coming through. So we'll certainly be a lot of measurement on things and be able to see the effect of things.
Awesome. Steve asked another great question. Do you create all the content, or does the client supply anything?
The client doesn't need to supply anything at all. So the inspiration for the content comes from the client's existing marketing materials and website, and I use that and some other source of information that I bring in as well. That goes onto the mass page site, both as standard text, but also the spin tags to vary the text in the right proportion on the page. And so effectively, I'd be looking for some 5 or 6 images, a YouTube video that hopefully if people don't have it, I can create a slideshow video for them, and that's pretty much it really. My main point is just to understand what niche they're wanting to target and what the kind of strategy is, and then I put the content together around that.
I have a selfish question to ask. Do you offer any kind of multiple site discount or any kind of reseller discount? For example, I'm an agency and I want to offer this to my clients and have a markup. Do you have something, let's say I'm sending you 10 sites. Do you have any discount for that?
Yeah, I definitely do have that. So if you're in that position and you want to do, I mean, there's pricing at the end of this deck, so we'll go through that. But if you want to pay annually, or if you have multiple sites for your own purposes, or if you want to be a reseller, it'd certainly be good to have a discussion about that. And because obviously I can offer this on a white label basis, host it on your behalf, and you could provide it with a markup to your own clients, and they wouldn't need to know where that is. The only identity would be an IP address, which obviously is fairly anonymous. So that would be it. But yeah, if people are interested in multiples or reselling, please have a chat and we can work something out.
Awesome. I think there was another question here. Let's see. Some clients have crappy websites that don't convert. Your detailed analytics will possibly showcase just how bad their conversion rate is. Do you provide any add-on services to help improve their conversion percentages on their main site?
So that's a good question. So when I think about SEO, it's all about traffic and conversions. And whenever I start speaking to a new client, that's what it's all about. It's talking about, have you got any data on, the problem of, 10 people landing on a website and 1 person converting is not the same problem as 1,000 people landing on the website and 1 person converting. It's good to try and understand, to isolate the 2 different factors. So I'm not a web designer. I'm not looking to put myself forwards as that. Happy to have a discussion with people to help look at some of the issues. But if people wanted to redesign their website or look at conversion, I would bring in another consultant to help with that. And the same with the mass page, the mass page booster, is that if people wanted to have a different template, I'd bring in somebody to build them a bespoke landing page. But the point on that is it's just a standard template to get people to the main site using the logo and fonts. But yeah, I mean, it's traffic and conversion is kind of bread and butter stuff to talk about, but it just depends on what people feel they need. But I could certainly guide them in the right direction if they needed more specialist help on that.
Okay, great. Facebook user says, great service, no brainer. All right, love it.
Oh, that sounds good. Yeah, brilliant. Right. Okay, cool. Okay, so let's get into sort of more nitty gritty in terms of pricing and how it works and all the rest of it. So I think this is the next slide. Is this the big reveal? Yeah, the big reveal. Okay, so it's quite hard to think about how best to price this, because I think in some ways I'm a small business owner and you want to be careful about commitments and long-term, monthly overheads. So there's that, but also I think in terms of the value of the amount of money that people must spend on pay-per-click or learning themselves or failing, but also trying something and it not working. So the level I've gone in at for this is, for the launch, is £125 per month. I think it's worth much more than that, and I won't be keeping the price at this level for a long time. So I'm really just putting it out there so that people want to buy in now. And I'm also selling this on a per niche, per location basis. So if somebody comes and says, look, I want to buy, I think of a county, I don't know, Mine's gone blank. Greater Manchester. Yeah, so if somebody wanted Greater Manchester wedding photographer, for example, that's something that would be locked in for them, and I wouldn't work with another Greater Manchester wedding photographer using this mass page booster. It's basically a way of, it would be like, I don't want to have a situation where there's 3 or 4 of the same propositions all in the same area, and it's just a conflict. So this is something that is there. So the price is for now, for the launch, £125 per month. There's a few terms and conditions which are put here for, I'm going to share the slides anyway, but a few kind of things just for people to be aware of. So to define a niche, I'm just looking at GMB categories like plumber, locksmith, wedding photographer. Obviously people can have a chat with me about their niche and if there's any variations, but I'm trying to kind of lock it down to categories. And then when I mean local, I mean a county or a state. So North Yorkshire, Greater London, Texas, states in the US, or other. I mean, this can work potentially anywhere in the world. So obviously happy to have a chat with people, but that's the kind of level I'm trying to say. So it's not a town, it's a city. So if you're in an area where there are 3 major cities, I'm hoping to group them together and say, I'll build in your area. We'll build, X hundred pages. It could be 100, 150, 200, that kind of level, depending on the population. And we don't want to put out pages that nobody's ever going to go to, but we want a decent amount of population. I normally go for 10,000 as a guide. And I need to sell on a first come first served basis, because it's on niches. So there are a few clients I've already worked with that are kind of beta test clients on this. So there's a few niches already allocated, but really it's just if people want to get in touch, I can let them know if things are available or not. There's a minimum 6-month commitment. You probably picked up there's obviously a big investment in software and setup for me, so I need to make sure that I can obviously recover my own investment in time. SEO is not a 2-week thing anyway, so it's really to work with people that understand that it's a medium to long-term strategy, and we need to give time for this to work and boost your existing site and get the rankings on the mass page. So it would be a minimum 6-month commitment. So there are discounts. So if you want to pay annually, that would be £12.50 or £125 a month otherwise, and depending on the volume, I can set these up within a kind of 2 weeks normally. Depending on what comes out today, might be a bit longer, but that's essentially the kind of the look and feel of it from that point of view. There's a couple of add-on services which are optional. So if you want to enhance the subdomain even further, I'm offering a backlink boosting service which will involve building a private blog network for you and doing a ongoing link building campaign, which is £75 a month. And I provide the service already, but I can also provide SEO optimized blog content as well. So if you wanted to have MPB provide backlinks to boost the subdomain, and also you wanted to enhance either your main site or the subdomain with blog writing, all of that's available. And I'm kind of putting together a bundle deal here. So this is the kind of last big reveal, is I'm doing that. So the mass page booster, the backlink booster, and a blog writing service for £200 a month, but that's only for the next 5 people that sign up, because there's quite a lot of effort in, particularly on the blog writing service. We're also using professional writers, and there's obviously a lot of work involved in the backlink building as well, and so there's quite a bit in there. So that's my deal for people that are here, and hopefully that's something that will appeal, and people can obviously get in touch for that. So £200 a month for the bundle, or £125 a month for the mass page booster. If you want to access these slides, I've got a short code here, go.simonhogben.com/MPB slides. So that'll get you through, and you can just see the slide deck as I've shown you here. And also, my monitor's about to go off there. Hold on a second. If you're ready to go, if you've heard and seen enough, and you don't have any more questions, you can go straight to masspagebooster.com. You can lock in your local niche. You just go in there and sign up for the monthly subscription, and that's it's a first come first served basis. If you want to have a chat with me, book a one-to-one. I'm available all day and night pretty much, it seems, these days, but happy to have a chat and hopefully sort of take it from there, really. So that's my deck. Daryl, I'm going to come out of this now. Let me just do this. We can go back into the slides if we need, but just to Steve Dimmick there. Texas isn't local; it spans 2 time zones. Okay, that's a bargain then. If you want to buy Texas, there we go. That's all Steve helpful. If you want to buy Texas, I'm happy to charge you 2 subscriptions if you want to do it that way. But yeah, that's
Texas is major. There's 5 major cities there, so I would definitely split it by the city.
Well, look, someone's going to get a bargain. That's all I'm saying.
Now, think of this. Simon, I know you. We talk a lot off air about different things, and I really like your integrity in general. And the fact that you're kind of partnering with these businesses to be exclusive for their area, I think is very commendable. One, it shows that you're not going to take on too much and water down your efforts. And 2, I feel like you're a partner in their success. If they're successful, they can keep paying that monthly fee or the annual fee, and maybe do more sites and rinse and repeat kind of thing.
Yeah,
so
100%,
I really feel you've done a good job with this presentation, and I really feel like you're off to a good start here.
Okay, good. Yeah, well, thanks for that. That's good. And that is my approach. And I often say, and people have probably heard me saying it, and I certainly say this with clients, is like I always try and think like, what would I do in your position? Because I'm a small business owner, I've got to be careful about what I invest in, what I do with my marketing budget and my efforts and my time. And I always try and think like, what would I do in your position? And I think this is a fantastic proposition. If people don't want to buy North Yorkshire professional photographer, I'm going to use it because I'll use it for my own purposes. But really what I do most of the time now, and I don't have any SEO on my main site, is I do like working with people, and I'm hoping to build up that network of mass page booster sites. I think also I'm going to learn a lot from the group of sites, because obviously the benefit of not having that overlap is the things I can learn about in other parts of the country and the world even. I can apply those learnings to other niches, knowing that I'm not going to compromise a client by overlapping. So I think it's a good model. That's why I try to set it up in that way, and I'd be interested to get people's feedback on it.
Yeah, it's great for somebody that wants the benefit, doesn't want to get their hands dirty. I mean, to be honest, just the things you're adding as far as the licenses of all of these different things would probably cost more than the £125 a month. Just to be honest with you, a lot of these are premium products. I know with our tool, to get the enterprise plan, it's $297 a month. That's 297 USD. So the fact that you're being extremely generous with this offer, and I really feel like when you're doing all the hard work, you're going to keep it up to date. I think you've made a really good offering.
Yeah, I'm trying to build a platform and obviously scale it up from there. And I don't, obviously it sounds like a marketing tactic, but the price will need to go up. I think I'm looking to lock in a number of people, get that started, get that platform ready, and then go from there. I mean, obviously there'll be more case studies and more data coming out of that, and more techniques. Obviously, what I can learn on one, I can use the template and apply that across all of the sites. So there's that kind of constant,
research
upgrade,
and development. Yeah.
We've got some other things there. I've had a chat with Stephen, done a little bit of work on that, and showed him some of the stuff in the background. And there's a lot of different moving parts to get it all working together. And I think it would be hard to kind of put it together from scratch and get all these things together. So it's good to see that's work there for you, Stephen. So that's all good. Okay, so hit me up if you want to say hello. My website, simonhogman.com. There's the meeting link. I'll just flash up the link to the slides again. So there are the slides which include all the links and the pricing details. And if you want to go straight in, you can go to masspageboost.com, and the payment links are there. And just seeing if my other link is here. If you want to say hello, I'm just looking for Simon's chat. The banner's here. Daryl, I've probably lost it somewhere. Hold on, I've already gone past it.
Is under banners?
Now here we go. I've got it. Yeah. So if you want another way to get in touch with me is if you want to go to simons.chat, you can message me and we can pick that things up there. So so that's Smash Page Booster. So I mean, thanks Daryl for joining me tonight, and thanks for sort of managing the questions and asking a few questions as well. That's been great, and thanks everyone for all your input on the presentation as well and your comments. That's great. So yeah, I'm quite excited about this. I think it's something that's a bit different, and look forward to building it and moving it forward. So that's great. So we're pretty much up to an hour. I think I'll just sort of close it there if there's no other sort of questions, and look forward to speaking to people, get everyone's feedback on the proposition. So that's Mass Page Booster. Thanks everyone for your time, and I'll end the broadcast and see you later on. Thanks, Daryl. Take care.
Thanks. All right. Thanks, Simon. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.